Hey, and welcome to CBR. Contrary to other DC superheroes, Christopher Smith, aka Peacemaker, doesn't have any super abilities. He has a great piece of equipment to assist him: his powerful helmet. Peacemaker's helmet is likely the most striking element of his outfit thanks to its chrome finish. Its silvery color. It's got wing details and the Dove of Peace symbol in the front that fills Christopher Smith with pride. This piece of headgear has a very vintage design. It isn't too science fiction-y or too futuristic, and it doesn't have any extra details. It's simply a shiny but useful helmet. This design makes perfect sense when considering its origins. It's very similar to the one that Peacemaker wore back in the 1960s when Joe Gill and Pat Boyette created him for Charlton Comics. The comics have introduced a couple of different designs for the helmet. In fact, the Peacemaker show actually pays homage to a couple. These have always had the same sleek design, nothing too over the top, but a functional headpiece. Overall, the headgear is what ties Peacemaker's whole outfit together. It's what makes Christopher's look go from a soldier into an actual vigilante. Another important detail here is that Peacemaker doesn't have just one helmet. We told you the show references various helmets. That's because Peacemaker owns several. In fact, there are around a dozen. And the best part? Each grants Peacemaker a particular superpower. Peacemaker's helmets aren't just an iconic piece of his superhero costume. They're also a great tool that grants him access to powers. Think of them as Batman's utility belt, but on his head. But wait, hold on. How does he get his hands on these incredible helmets? Don't take this the wrong way, but Peacemaker isn't exactly the smartest guy around. He just wouldn't be able to create these outstanding masterpieces of engineering on his own. The Peacemaker helmets were designed and created by Auggie Smith, aka the White Dragon. This is Peacemaker's super racist father. Auggie Smith is inarguably the biggest villain in the Peacemaker series, even worse than invading aliens. Ironically, he's also the most intelligent bad guy around. But you see, Auggie didn't just create the helmets to please his son Christopher. It would be incredibly naive to believe that Auggie actually tried to support his son's vigilante career. Instead, they had a very rocky relationship that ended with Peacemaker killing Auggie. Let's go back to the beginning, shall we? At one point during the Suicide Squad, Amanda Waller described Peacemaker as a man who can turn anything into a deadly weapon because his father was a soldier who trained his son how to kill from the moment he was born. This is exactly how it went. Auggie Smith was a supervillain himself during his younger years. He was known as the White Dragon and was the leader of the Aryan Empire. As the embodiment of his legacy, he expected his son Christopher would follow in his footsteps. Likely, it was during this horrifying journey for the young Peacemaker that Auggie started planning a couple of gadgets for his murderous son. After all, he had crafted a whole armor piece for himself. Neither the Suicide Squad nor the Peacemaker show reveal the moment Auggie gave Peacemaker his first helmet, but it's safe to assume it happened when he first became a vigilante. Surely, Auggie was happy to see him kill others, even if he wasn't working with the Aryan Empire. Of course, there was also something about control on that during Stop Dragging My Heart Around, the 7th episode of the show. Peacemaker discovered his father had been tracking his location with the helmets through GPS. So clearly by making his son some gadgets, Auggie was ensuring to be on top of Chris's intentions and actions for his own advantage. We told you he was a big villain. Once Peacemaker took the vigilante route, Auggie used his genius-level intellect to craft him a helmet that would be his signature look and one of his most precious accessories in battle. But which powers do the helmets grant Chris? The original Peacemaker helmet didn't have any super abilities for Christopher to use. However, it was made with an undisclosed bulletproof material that protected Peacemaker from dying from a headshot. This proved incredibly useful during his time hanging out with Deadshot and Bloodsport. Unfortunately for Peacemaker, the standard helmet is long gone. Peacemaker had to give it away to pay for his taxi ride from the hospital. Who knows what happened with it? Maybe the show's second season will reveal this. In the meantime, you should know Peacemaker actually got himself a new standard helmet. This is the one he used to visit Jamil's daughter's school. So it's obviously the one he uses for public appearances, and it's likely bulletproof too. Now that he has discovered his dad tracks him through the helmets, do you think he will give himself a new public appearance? The screwdriver helmet gets its name because it makes Peacemaker look like a screwdriver from above, since it has a flat, arch-like shape. It doesn't attack its user's foes, but it does something even better. It creates a full-body force field that protects Peacemaker from any kind of damage. While Peacemaker clearly prefers to use helmets that grant him attack abilities, some defense is always welcome. After all, even though Christopher is basically in peak human condition, he's far from bulletproof. Peacemaker's Sonic Boom helmet has a voice-activated sonic blast so powerful, it immediately kills a human that is within range. Peacemaker himself revealed that this helmet can produce around 4 blasts in one charge. Peacemaker's Sonic Boom helmet was the real MVP during the first season of the TV series. Additionally, this is the helmet Leota Adebayo used in Coverdale Ranch on Episode 8, It's Cow or Never. This was the first step of the 11th Street Kid's plan to ruin the Butterfly's food supply and end the secret invasion on Earth. Then, she used it a couple of extra times to kill as many butterflies as possible. The Underwater World helmet allows Peacemaker to breathe underwater, but we don't know for how long or even if it actually works. After all, it doesn't even cover its user's nose. Peacemaker hasn't used the Underwater World helmet yet, but with the second season on its way, we would love to see it happen. Or better yet, maybe Peacemaker will get to use it on a future DC project. Maybe if he has to travel to Atlantis. That would be kinda cool. He's already familiar with King Shark, so maybe there will be a team-up between them, or even, is it possible? Could we see another aquatic-themed hero return? The X-Ray Vision helmet has X-ray vision lenses that open the moment Peacemaker activates it. These lenses allow him to see through solid stuff, including the human body. This means the helmet became the team's best weapon against the sneaky butterflies that parasite inside humans. When the 11th Street Kids raided the Gleam Tie Bottling Company, aka the Butterfly's Food Factory, Peacemaker uses this helmet to quickly identify the aliens working here and kill them. Thanks to this helmet, Leota also learned that Clemson Myrn was actually a butterfly. She was playing around with the helmet when Clemson arrived, and upon seeing his head, she saw the true being inside. Perhaps the weirdest of Peacemaker's helmets, the Scabies For All helmet simply gives everyone within 1 mile scabies, but its user. Pretty random, yeah, we know. But according to the White Dragon, every man should get scabies at least once in his life. So this helmet is both a way for Peacemaker to go through this strange rite of passage and to defend himself from a whole army in the most annoying way possible. Of course, it's also a trademark James Gunn joke. In fact, it's a reference to a very obscure piece of James Gunn filmography. It's The Specials, written by Gunn in 2000. There's a villain turned hero who used to belong to a team whose plan was to give everyone in the world scabies. Scabies for all. So now you know, the Scabies For All helmet isn't just a very random joke. Instead, it's an incredibly specific joke and an homage to Gunn's own work, which has been filled with strange but hilarious conversation amidst action-packed scenes for decades now. While Auggie shows Peacemaker his new options for helmets, there's a mysterious option in the background known as the Bound for Good helmet. The show doesn't reveal what this helmet does, but we're hoping James Gunn will bring it back for the next season of the show. It isn't like Gunn to leave loose ends after all. In the meantime, the internet has some theories about it. For example, what if the helmet forces the wearer to only do good? Considering how villainous Auggie is, this one seems unlikely. But who knows? Another option is that it actually binds two things together forever. This would be incredibly situational, like most of the helmet's abilities. There's also a theory about it having exorcist abilities, but that may be too far-fetched. What do you think the Bound for Good helmet does? The anti-gravity helmet does exactly as its name suggests. It cancels gravity around itself and begins floating upwards, allowing Peacemaker to levitate. In order to control its trajectory, Peacemaker used to use a small fan. This isn't a problem anymore. Sadly for Vigilante, the helmet simply floated away like a balloon, so it's now lost forever. Or not. Again, James Gunn loves to retroactively tie loose ends and reference his own work. It wouldn't surprise us if the helmet returns to its owner or even ends up in the hands of future DC Universe heroes. Like the Screwdriver helmet, the human Torpedo headpiece creates a force field around its wearer. However, this one isn't just for protection. Instead, when the user arms their head, the helmet flings them at high speed at a target as if they were a torpedo. Yeah, that's exactly why it's named that. Peacemaker and Auggie didn't exactly take the creative route to name these helmets, did they? Although it has an epic name, the human Torpedo helmet proved to be incredibly ineffective during the battle at Cloverdale Ranch. Leota used it on herself to try and save Peacemaker from the leader Butterfly. He did tell her that the human Torpedo helmet was still an untested prototype, but we hope he's able to use it better in the second season of the show. Peacemaker also owns the Itchy Band helmet. This particular headgear has spiky projectiles on the forehead which, upon activation, are shot against a target, potentially killing them. The Itchy Band helmet gets its name from a Japanese pun. It comes from Ichiban, which means something like the best one or the favorite. And yes, considering that the helmet can severely hurt foes with a couple of words, it makes sense that Peacemaker considers it his best tool. Like most of the helmets, the Itchy Band one wasn't used during the first season of Peacemaker. Here's hoping it gets a chance to shine in Peacemaker Season 2. Indeed, we haven't seen all of Peacemaker's helmets in action, but based on the information we have, we think it's safe to say that the human Torpedo helmet is the best one. Sure, right now, its technology is a bit shaky, but a helmet that turns you into a living, wrecking ball while also protecting you from danger is definitely great technology that even Batman would love to have. Or Miley Cyrus. It's honestly a no-brainer. In fact, do we need to remind you that this was the helmet that finally ended the butterflies? If a faulty prototype is so useful, we can only imagine what the final device could look like and what amazing things it could do.
Kill me?
Yeah.
Peacemaker's helmets are all amazing, but did you know that these are all original creations? Sure, James Gunn drew inspiration from DC Comics for the design, but you should know that, in the books, Peacemaker only has one helmet. In addition to the helmet, the comics Peacemaker had a cool jetpack. Remember how Christopher asked Clemson for one in the first season of Peacemaker? There's a chance that he will actually get one for the next season. Wouldn't it be cool? Surely would also play into some good jokes. Would you like to see it? But Auggie's death means that Peacemaker won't have access to new helmets unless he finds a new engineer to design them. Since Leota unveiled Amanda Waller's Inhuman projects at the end of Peacemaker, so Peacemaker won't be able to ask for help from the organization. The Vigilante is likely going to need a new engineering-inclined ally if he wants new gadgets. Could this new friend appear during the second season? Here's hoping. Otherwise, he will have to make as good use as possible of the helmets he still has. Maybe in the next season, the helmets will take a more prominent place on Peacemaker's combat strategy. Would you like to see this? Whether it's the current helmets or new creations, we would love to see Peacemaker use them more often. Did you know all this stuff about Peacemaker's helmets? Which one did you like better, the comic or the series version? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, thanks for watching CBR.